If you have been wanting to learn how to stitch for sequins as well as digitize a sequence design, then this video is for you, because tonight we are going to be digitizing and stitching up a beautiful Mother's Day design. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another video. I am Tanish Fortin, your favorite virtual embroidery coach. And tonight we are creating a beautiful Mother's Day design, and we will be using this beautiful pink sequin fabric, and we are going to be putting it on this Just Hoods aqua colored sweatshirt. The only supplies that we will be needing is some 3-ounce cutaway stabilizer, and mine is from United Thread. And you also will need a piece of Solvay stabilizer to put on top of the sequence once that satin stitches starts stitching out. So let's go ahead and get our sweatshirt hoop. We are using 8x13 mighty hoop, which is right here. Hey guys, if you really enjoy the embroidery files that I create, then I need to tell you this. Right now, you can keep on buying my designs for $10 each, or you can join the Embroidery Mastery community and get 5 new designs every single month for free. That is $50 worth of designs every single month, plus access to every single thing that we do inside the Embroidery Mastery community. It's honestly a no-brainer. Click the link below to join us inside, and I will see you there. All right. I have the bottom part on. Now the stabilizer, and here is my sweatshirt. Now this sweatshirt is for me. Let's get the top hoop on. There we go. All right, so let's head into the software so that we can get this design digitized. Okay, we're going to first start off by clicking on this fan, and that opens the digitizing portion of our software. I will be using features from Embrilliance Stitch Artist Level 3. My screen is blue because this is the color of my sweatshirt, and I really want to know how my thread choices will look against the sweatshirt. Now we are going to pull up our design. I did create this design in Silhouette Studio, the business edition. It is a SVG. Now what I am doing, you can use the level 3 features to do what I am doing, which is basically creating a knockout stitch. However, when I do use the software, I find that it gets a little glitchy sometimes when I'm trying to use the logical subtract button. So I just made a real quick vector file in Silhouette Studio. So let's pull it up. Here it is. I don't know if you can quite see it because of the color that's on my screen. So I'm just going to add like a dark color. I'm not going to keep it this color, but I do need you guys to be able to see my screen. I'm just going to do this Regal purple, just something dark. If we look over here to the right towards the property box, it's just everything is just kind of a mess. So we're going to clean it up. We're going to first start by selecting the S and taking all of its parts and combining the holes, because right now it imported with nothing combined. So I'm going to select the S, and I'm going to select the hole as well. And I'm just holding down the control button to select 2 things at once. We're going to come right here to create. We're going to go to outline, and we are going to combine the holes. And if you look, the 2 holes combined. The U is fine. The P, we do need to combine the holes in the P. The P has 2 holes. So I have everything selected. I'm going to come up here to create, outline, combine holes. All right, now let's look at the mom. And what we're looking at right now is the design is going to have knockout stitches. So that's just basically where a portion of the design is missing, and it's going to be filled in with stitches in that missing portion. Right now, let's work on the order. I like to work in a certain order, so I'm going to spend some time rearranging. Like this M, I want that to start embroidering first. So I'm just going to move it earlier. And here's the second part of the M. Here's the O. So I do like to work from the top to the bottom, and the way that it imported was from the bottom to the top. So I'm just switching the order around a little bit. All right. So what I'm going to do now is set up my design for applique. I'm not going to use the applique button. You guys know that I love to have control over my designs. So we're going to manually set this up for applique. I am going to select every single part of the word mom. And we already have the run stitch. We are going to tie at the entry and the exit. And this first run is going to be our placement stitch. So we tied the ends and it's just going to be a single run that is 2.5 millimeters. Okay. Now we all know that in order to make our embroidery machine stop, it needs to be told to stop. And the way that we tell our embroidery machine to stop is by color changes. So I'm going to pick a lavender as the first run. And while it's selected, I'm going to right click. I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to hit paste. Now we're going to select the copy that we just made and we're going to move it first. All right, I'm just selecting the entire mom again. And we got to get these colors in order so that our machine can have the right instructions to stop. So the first mom, which is going to be a single run stitch that is 2.5 millimeters long. It is Orchard Mist. All right, so now the second mom, which is this lavender blue, we want to make this run a double run. And this is actually going to be, I think I'm going to do sequins. So I'm going to take this to a 3.5 millimeter double run, just because it's not making as many penetrations in the sequins fabric. And then also this is going to be a tack down stitch. So let's go ahead and label them. And also let's do the same thing with the first set as well. So remember, the first set is the placement stitch. That is the stitch that's going to tell you where to place your fabric. Now for me, I really don't need this, but for you guys, I don't want anyone who may be viewing this video to become confused. Okay, so we have our placement, our tack down, and now we need our final covering stitch. I think that I'm just going to make this a sequence design. So if you guys notice that it went to the bottom, and that's okay, we'll get it back in order. So this is going to be a satin stitch. We're going to have a satin covering stitch. So now I need to change the color, and I'm gonna probably use a pink sequins. So I'm gonna use Madeira 1815. That's the color that I'm using. And it's this baby pink, and I'm gonna just come right here to the satin border, and I'm gonna look at my properties of it. I'm actually going to do a 5 millimeter just basic satin stitch, and I'm going to tie at the entry and the exit, and I can already see a node that is giving me trouble. So let's zoom in, and we are going to get rid of that node. So it's actually on the M. So if you look in this area right here, there's a lot of nodes right there. We don't need all that. Okay. So I'm just double clicking to get rid of them. All right, so now we kind of need to bring this back up to match. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect, but at least close to the line. It's a little lopsided. Okay, I think that is good. Right here, there's an extra node too. I'm going to change that to a line. Some of these, I'm just going to change the line because with these vectors, it really gives you too many nodes. Here we go. Now the line did change that shape, so I'm just going to undo that one. Now I'm going to zoom out and sort of take a look at everything else. Let's look at the O. The O has a lot of extra nodes too. And I am now going to take these letters, super, S-U-P-E-R, and I'm going to move them last. There we go. So we have our placement, our tack down, and our final satin borders. So the last thing that we need to do is work on the super part. And these are going to be satin columns, and I'm going to build them with the alternating column left, right, okay, which is right here. So they just come out cleaner and they just look better. I'm looking at the S and I'm trying to figure out which direction I'm going to start at, where I'm going to end at. These are all things that you're thinking about as a digitizer. You have free will to do it however you choose, but the one thing that you want to make sure of is if you're creating this design for someone else, you want to make sure that the user is going to have a smooth stitching experience. You don't want a lot of thread breaks. You don't want the machine jumping around everywhere. You just want the machine to go continual if possible. I'm going to just start right here. And I'm not going to start from the inside because I don't want any stitches underneath. I'm holding down my shift button and I'm just going to start drawing these stitches. I'm going on the outside because with a satin stitch, it's going to squeeze the fabric together. And kind of already seems smaller than it should be. We don't want it to be, we don't want really thin satin stitches. I'm actually going to change the color to this Madeira 1685 thread. All right, and the stitches look great. So now I'm going to click alternating inputs again. I'm holding down the shift key because that's how I like to start my satin columns. And I'm just going to start making my columns and going around. And for me, I just like to go on the outside. So it's going to start to get a little tight as I go around. And this is very wide for a satin stitch. I am going to split the satin stitches. All right, so we got a little bit of shaping to do. Now I'm not gonna go through every single letter. To get these really nice, smooth satin columns, you do need to build them yourself versus using the auto digitizing satin button. They always look better when you build them yourself, because this way you could tell the stitches what direction to go. So it's a little hard to get to some of the nodes with all of these inclinations in the way. And the inclinations are these yellow circles that you see. And these are just directing the stitches on which way to go. You can get rid of some of them. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I just need to work on the shape of the lower part of the S. And honestly, as a digitizer, there's really no way around this. You're just gonna have to spend the time making your stitches look good. Okay, so we have the S finished. Let's zoom out so we can see how it really looks. That looks fantastic. So we are going to start with this smaller piece. We're going to tie it at the entry and we're going to leave it open at the exit because we want it to pick up the other part of the S. So for the other part of the S, I'm going to bring that start right down here so that it can pick up. and start stitching the rest of the S, and it's going to just end right here. Okay, I can delete this first S. And for those of you who don't know how to digitize, you know how I imported this in as a SVG. These letters that I imported in, you can just hit the satin column button and see what you get. It's very unreliable, and you're still going to have to manipulate the nodes one way or another. But this is just how it would look when you hit the satin column button. And this is, I guess we would consider this auto digitizing because we imported it and then we put some stitches in. But for this S, I did manually make it, and it's going to stitch really nice. It may not look like anything right now, but when it stitches out, it's going to look very beautiful. So I could just leave this like this. However, I choose to make my stitches, and that's how I get them very smooth and looking very, very nice. I'm going to show you one more thing before I speed things up and get this done. This S is very thick, so we are going to add a carving line, and I'm probably going to start it right about here. And I put in 3 nodes. I'm going to hit enter, and obviously it's not the right shape, but if you look at this darkness, that is the carve. So what I want to do is just shape the carve. And I'm just following the natural pattern of the S. And what it's going to do is split these satin stitches in half so that they're not too wide. And I love a good carving stitch. I think this is great right here. Okay, let me zoom out to see how this is looking. Okay, it's good. So now I'm going to work on the rest of these letters and speed this video up. All right, I am pretty much done. I just need to add the carving stitch on this E and on the R. Alrighty, it looks fantastic. All right, let me meet you guys at the machine and let's just pull up the design really quick just to make sure it fits in the hoop. This is called Supermom. Okay, this is how the design looks. I can see a little something going on with the U right in here, so I'm just gonna fix that. But however, I will see you guys at the machine. Okay, so everything is set up for the design. I have my thread color selected. This design is going to take 23 minutes to stitch out. However, we are going to slow the machine down to about 700 stitches per minute once we get to the sequins portion. And then when we get to the satin stitches, we're gonna speed the machine right back up. So I'm gonna do a quick trace just to make sure everything is aligned and that no needles will hit the mighty hoop. I'm gonna scoot the design down a little bit. Sometimes I get tired of designs being like super high, so I do want it a little bit lower than my typical design. All right, let's go. Okay, so this is the sequined fabric, and what I am removing is called Heat and Bond Light. So I'm just gonna set that right on top, and I'm going to raise this presser foot. I'm gonna raise it to like the second or the third highest level. And the next thing that I'm gonna do is slow down my stitches to 700 stitches per minute just to stop the needle from breaking. And that changed my design to about a 35-minute stitch out now. Okay, so right now, the placement stitch is already here. This just lets me know where to place my sequin fabric. So now that we have the placement stitch, we are now doing the tack down stitch. And I chose a darker color so that I could see the tack down stitch, because this is really important when we go to cut out the applique fabric. Woo. Stop the machine because it's stuck on a sequin fabric. I'm just gonna smooth it out. I am going to get my little chopsticks to hold the fabric in place while the needle is going around, because I really don't want to use my fingers. Whew. Stop. That's why you want to stay close to your machine whenever we are doing a tack down stitch. If I would have been somewhere else, the fabric would have gotten all bunched out. I would have had to remove some of these stitches because it just would have stitched all bunched up like that. There's nothing that sucks more than removing stitches. All right, let's go. All right, let's head over to the table so that we can get this cut out. Okay, when I have intricate cuts like this, I do like to pull it off of the machine. So I may try to start off with these just because these won't stick to the mighty hoop. Remember, this mighty hoop is a magnet. So I'm gonna start off with these. They're not working all that great. So I'm gonna go for my sharp scissors. I'm gonna stay in one place and just turn the hoop as I navigate around this design. Now, it would have been a little bit easier if I actually would have used a bigger mighty hoop for cutting purposes. This 8x13 mighty hoop really restricts your cutting area. It boxes it in right in this area right here. And we know that we need a lot of space cutting, especially cutting sequins. So I did use a purple thread, but I could still hardly see it. My only goal is not to cut the shirt. So for me, I like to pull at the fabric just to get a very close cut. So you need a really close cut. I do have a video out, shows you how to cut sequins on your Cricut machine. But for me, I like to hand cut my sequins. So before we start our satin stitch, we're just going to get all of the loose sequins and cut up fabric out of this hoop. And now we are going to put this solvay on top, and it's going to do the satin stitch for the sequins, as well as the knockout stitch that we created together in Embrilliance. So it's just a really beautiful knockout stitch. I predict that these are going to be very, very popular. And I will show you guys in a minute the sweatshirt that I made for myself. This is a technique that we have been going over heavily in the embroidery mastery community. So if you guys want more information on my private community, It will be linked below. And this is the shirt that I made for myself. It's beautiful. So what we did was we went into Silhouette Studio. We created the knockout design in Silhouette Studio, just the same as I did with this mom design. We brought it back to Embrilliance and we made the embroidery design. So if you are into learning concepts like that, then I think the community will be perfect for you. So let's get this over to the machine. All right, this is the last part and it's gonna take about 40 minutes. All right, everything is complete and it turned out beautifully. Oh, I just love it. I really don't have to correct anything. All right, let's get this cleaned up. I cannot wait to wear this shirt. The colors are awesome. So while we're cleaning this, I do want to let you guys know that our newest program is finally open to the public and it is called the Embroidery Mastery Mentorship. So my husband and I have opened up a mentorship program and we already have some mentees that are in the program. So we opened up this program because this part right here, like the stitching, the digitizing secrets, you know, it was a lot of gaps in the embroidery community. And I just wanted to start sharing stuff. Everything was such a secret club, you know, just a secret, and you had to be a part of the secret society just to be let in. And I just openly started sharing stuff here on YouTube. But one of the things that we found out was that people need help beyond stitching and beyond digitizing as well, and that they need help on the actual business part of embroidery. The business part of embroidery is where most of embroiderers get stuck. Even for me, when I was first starting out, I didn't have any systems in place. My husband came in, and you guys, when I say he pulled my business all the way together, he pulled it together. So, you know, we both do this full time. And once he started showing me the ropes and how things should go and how things should be automated, he was able to take a break from what he was currently doing and us focus on growing my business full time. So I am so grateful to have him in this business with me and for his expertise in certain areas, especially when it comes to building businesses. So this program is for embroiderers who already know how to stitch. If you need help with the business side of things, and structure, pricing, how to get the correct licenses and that aspect of your embroidery business, then that is what this mentorship is for. The mentorship will come with any course that I have already put out. So if you do need help with things like stitching and digitizing, I will be able to help you with those things. But this isn't a teach me how to stitch mentorship. So the program is 90 days long and we will work just as hard on the business side of embroidery, just as well as the craft side. Our goal is to send you away with a business that looks good and that runs and functions like a real business, not something that just looks good on the outside. So if this program sounds like it is something that you are interested in, feel free to book your business clarity call. And hopefully my husband and I will be able to help you start your successful embroidery business. So now that this is all cleaned up, I need to trim a few, no, actually there's no more stitches. Let's turn on our heat press and get this ready to be pressed. So this design will be for sale as well as a few other Mother's Day pieces that I will be listing. I'm still working on getting the other listings up as well. Hopefully I can get some help so that I can get a little bit faster at getting listings up for you. I do make a lot of designs, I just don't list them. So I am currently working on getting better at that, as well as looking for someone to hire to make all of the different files for all of the different embroidery machines. This is the final product. This is absolutely stunning. I am going to wear this tomorrow, especially this sequins fabric if it is still in stock. Leave all your questions down below and I will be sure to answer them. If you are interested in joining the Embroidery Mastery Mentorship, then please feel free to book your business clarity call. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.